Tonight is AI for Authors. How many of you are authors? Great. But that was my next question. How many are aspiring authors? Great. Okay, cool. And how many of you are using AI? Good. Is that mostly ChatGPT and any other tools? Claude, good, yeah. Copilot, okay. Any of the image generating tools? Who said DALL-E? Ah, okay. Then I have a treat for you, because DALL-E is definitely not my favorite, as you'll see. And you'll see why. And you'll see what I found last January that just, one of the big problems that I ran into, and maybe you run into with the image generators, is you ask for something specific, and you get something that gets some of what you asked for, but you get other stuff you didn't ask for, or it misses stuff you did ask for, right? And you have to go back and forth. You end up wasting more time than if you had just done it another way. Well, last January, a tool came out where what you ask for is what you get. Saves so much time. I pretty much get everything that I want first time with this tool, so it's my go-to, and I'll show you it a little bit later. Just a very, very brief background on me, because it does relate to what we're going to cover tonight. Back in 1995, when the internet was just basically text and blue links, and if you hit enough blue links, maybe if you got lucky, a picture. It was very exciting. Ooh, a picture. But it was kind of dull. So we thought, well, I wonder what we could do that could make it a bit more interesting. So we came up with this idea of a town set 100 years in the future. And just to really, really shoot ourselves in the foot, we made it in 3D virtual reality, multi-user virtual reality, meaning people all over the world could come together, take on physical bodies, and interact with each other in 3D spaces. Now, if you remember how slow the modems were back then, this was quite a task. Somehow we pulled it off. And what would happen is people would be going through their text and blue links, and they'd suddenly come across this, which was animated and had music and sound effects and stuff. And they'd go, what on earth is this? And they'd go in, and they'd like it, and they'd tell their friends. And that was a good thing and a bad thing, because what happened was we had 100 different virtual reality chat rooms, and we had 1,000 new people a day joining the community, flooding the chat rooms with all these questions that newbies to a community will ask. There was no way we could keep up with it. We couldn't be in 100 chat rooms simultaneously answering questions. So I'd heard about AI. I was kind of late to the game with AI, because AI started in 1954, but this was 95, so it's like quite a ways after. But I thought, well, I wonder if we could build some kind of AI that could sit in all these chat rooms and simultaneously answer all these questions for us. And so up here, this was Mina. So Mina was born, and she became our resident chatbot. And she developed a personality and a sense of humor, and people really got to love her because she answered questions really well. She got into communication with members, and to this day she has her own radio show. It was pretty wild, but so anyway, that experience with AI got me kind of interested, because I could see a lot of possibilities with this technology. And because what we were doing was kind of revolutionary, we got a lot of international press. But so that was an online community. And so what's happened now is, having gotten really deeply involved in AI over the last 5 years, particularly in multimedia, and then in the last 2 years of giving seminars and being an AI consultant, I've come full circle and created a new community to help everyday people learn AI, what it is, how they can use it, and to learn in simple terms, because I looked on the internet and there were dozens of AI communities, but they were all for scientists, developers, engineers, geeks, very complex stuff. So we built this to be really simple, and we keep it up to date, because AI is changing literally every day. So every evening I spend 1 to 2 hours keeping up with all the changes that are happening and putting them into the community so that you can keep up too. And it's free. So anyway, on to what we're going to cover tonight. So we're going to be looking at AI as it relates to authorship. And first, we're going to take a quick look just at AI itself, just a brief look. And you've heard the term disruptive technologies, right? Okay, so just going to put AI in context, because the invention of the printing press in 1436 caused quite a ruckus, especially for the church, because the church kind of wanted a monopoly on knowledge back then. And here was this press that could take knowledge and print it and hand it out to people all over the place. So they got kind of concerned. But it actually had a major positive impact on the Renaissance, because it facilitated the creation and dissemination of new ideas. And when photography was invented in 1822, painters got really upset, because here's a painter, he spent 3 to 4 months painting this person or this family or this landscape, and along comes a guy with a little box or a big box, goes click, and captures what he spent 3 to 4 months trying to capture. So painters got really, really annoyed. In fact, there was one painter called de la Ruche who said, "From today, painting is dead." And as far as I know, we still have painters. But it opened up a whole new area of artistic expression. When Photoshop, which is a tool for photographers, came out, some photographers were also really upset until they tried it and found out what it could do to help them. And now it's a standard. I don't know any photographer who doesn't use it. And then when the gramophone came out and the radio, it really upset the musicians' union, because they got their money from musicians playing live. And suddenly, you didn't have to go and see a live musician every time. You could listen to them on the radio or play a record. So then television sets came along, and they threatened movie theaters. Then cable TV threatened broadcast TV. Streaming threatened cable TV. The internet threatened information dispersal, ownership, and control. So it's this constant cycle of new disruptive technologies coming along, really upsetting people, and then becoming part of the norm. One of the nice things about disruptive technologies is they tend to work democratically, which means they allow increasing numbers of people to have access to those things which were previously very rare, expensive, or difficult to produce. And I'll show you an example a little bit later, because there are things that literally until last year, if we had wanted to do them in the film arena, would have cost us literally millions of dollars and taken 3 months to create. And now they take 7 hours to create and $125. So it's a whole different world. Disruptive technology challenges the status quo, forcing change. AI is a disruptive technology, arguably the most disruptive technology of the 21st century. The Harvard Business Review in August 2023 said, AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI, which I personally believe. So what we're going to cover tonight, what is AI? What can AI tools do? The speed of AI progress. This first part will be pretty quick, because the beat is stuff to do with authoring, which we'll get to. But then we'll look at AI tools for writing, publishing, and marketing. An actual walkthrough online of writing a book with AI. We'll actually write a book tonight. And does AI replace real writers? And hint, the answer begins with N. So what is AI? It's just simply...
The time is now 5:15 and the bookstore will be closing in 15 minutes. The rest of the library is open. Thank you.
Well, thank you, AI. So AI is artificial tools, and it is just a tool. They're computer programs that use machines learning stuff, to mimic the problem-solving and decision-making capabilities of the human mind. What can they do? Well, AI can do in literally seconds things that could easily take a human being hours. Thus, they enable you to get far more done and far more quickly and easily. For example, 1 to 2 hours of really high-quality copywriting work done in seconds. 20 really compelling video titles in 30 seconds instead of 15 minutes for maybe 6 with brainstorming. 2 hours image editing work in 30 seconds. And none of those are exaggerations. In fact, often it's faster, getting faster every day. The reason I mentioned the Sony World Photography Awards is because last year, well, first of all, the Sony World Photography Awards is a very prestigious award ceremony for photographers. And last year, the photograph that won was a beautiful atmospheric photograph of a mother and daughter, and it was gorgeous, and it rightly won. The only problem was when the person who was supposedly the photographer went up to receive the award, he said, "I'm sorry, I can't accept this reward. I didn't take the photograph. It was created out of nothing by an AI." So that caused a bit of a ruckus. Yeah. So in terms of the speed of progress, things that AI can do now and the quality with which they can do them in 2024, actually it was in 2023 that they reached what was predicted for 2030. I mean, really, it is that we had a thing happen in, I think it was February of this year, that stunned even us who work in AI. And that was video had been at a certain level for images, creating of images had gotten really, really good, got better and better and better. But video was still really poor. And then suddenly overnight, a company said, "Here, look what we've been doing for the last year." And they showed video created by AI, and it was stunning. It was Hollywood quality. So much so that one very well-known producer-director, Tyler Perry, basically, he was about to spend $800 million building, I think it was 12 additions to the sound stages for his studios in Atlanta. He saw what this AI tool could do, and he just canceled it. He said, "I don't need it anymore because AI can do everything I need." So it was quite a jump forward in terms of, yeah. And last year, AI became verifiably more accurate in medical diagnoses than medical doctors. And some people think that's a very good thing because according to the British Medical Journal, medical doctors are the third highest cause of deaths in the US. And according to the Mayo Clinic, 88% of second opinions result in a different diagnosis. And just literally today, I read about an AI that can look at a video of you, like a 20-second video, and just from that video, it can tell your blood pressure and all sorts of other things that previously we'd have to have those heavy cuffs and pumping and pressure on our arms. Now the AI can get it right just by looking at a video of you, because it's looking at facial heat maps and things. AIs can now recognize and can accurately and in detail describe what they, quote, see in images and videos. So, back in July 2022, back in the dark ages of AI, an AI was asked to create an image of a black cat on a couch. And that's what it created. Pretty rough, right? Just 4 months later, the same AI was asked the same thing, and that's what it created. So you see, it learns and gets better pretty quickly, although the speed of it getting better in the last 6 months has been stunning. And then video, in 2023, it was asked to create a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And you can see the quality is pretty rough. But now the quality is way better.
It's very advanced.
Very advanced, yes. Okay, a quick update. So some of you are using ChatGPT. Now, are you using it for things like research or asking it questions or asking it to rewrite things for you? Brainstorming, good. Anything else?
Letters to my future ex-husband. I'm not even kidding.
Okay. Yeah, so those are the things that people mostly use ChatGPT for, but it's actually capable of so much more. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I think this was about 3 months ago. I was having ChatGPT create an app for me. I would tell it what I wanted the app to do, and it would write the code in front of me, and 20 seconds later, I'd have the app. Now, this particular app, it had to go out of ChatGPT. It had to go into my Gmail and my calendar, my Google Calendar, get information, bring it back, bring it into the app, and that would have been fine, except my AI or ChatGPT said, okay, try it. So I clicked the button, didn't work. And I went, oh no. Because normally when something like that happens, I'd have to go online, go and check in a forum or tech support or Google or whatever, describe what it was I was trying to do and what was happening and what could be the problem, what could be the solution. I could easily waste 1 to 2 hours before I got it solved. And I was just about to go off and do that when my AI suddenly said, you know, I think I might know what's going wrong here. Is it okay with you if I check it out? And I said, okay. And in front of me, I saw it get into communication with the AI at the Google end. They went back and forth for about 10 seconds. My AI came back and said, yeah, we figured it out. Try it now. I did, and it worked perfectly. So I found that interesting because up to that point, I'd always had to tell AI what to do. In this instance, it actually decided, hey, it kind of did some reasoning and figured, well, I can probably figure this out. It'd probably be helpful to do that. And it did. Another time, which I found very useful, was about a week later. When I give these seminars, at the end, I always say, if you want the slides, just send me an email. And I put my email on the screen, and I'll send you the slides. And my master plan had been to take the email addresses, put them in a spreadsheet, and then send people tips on AI or updates or whatever. But I got so busy that I didn't get round to it. But when I finally did say, okay, I better do this, I went into my email to see what was what, and I found 1,200 emails that I was going to have to go in and extract the email addresses one by one, copy and paste them into a spreadsheet and all that. And I thought, oh my God, that's going to take days. But then I thought, wait a minute, there's AI. So I asked ChatGPT, is there a better way to do it? And it said, yeah, there's 3. And it showed me instantly 3 better ways to do it. And I really liked the second one. So I said, I was literally just about to go off and do the second one when the AI said, hey, what if I write you a script that'll automate the whole thing for you? And I said, hell yeah. And 20 seconds later, there was my script with 5 steps of how to implement it. I did. 20 seconds later, I had the 1,200 emails all in the spreadsheet. So ChatGPT it's a clever dude. And so you feel free to have it flex its muscles because it does a lot of things. But actually now the free one does most of that, yeah. Gemini, which is Google's competitor to ChatGPT, it can watch and summarize YouTube videos. So when I'm doing research and there's a 2-hour video and somewhere in that video is the answer to my question, I don't have 2 hours to find it. So Gemini can go in a few seconds, summarize it, transcribe it, enable me to ask questions of it, or just give me the exact thing I'm looking for. That saves a lot of time. It can also, it was a year ago, if you wanted to take a book that you'd written and say to the AI, okay, now proofread this book and fix the grammar, fix the spelling, fix the typos, the punctuation, advise on ways it could be better, all these kind of things. You'd have to do it maybe a chapter at a time because it couldn't take a whole bunch of text. Well, now it can import 4,100 pages, which is all 7 of the Harry Potter books. So it's moving along. A couple of quick tips before we get into the authors portion. ChatGPT is trained to be helpful and to mimic humans, and it's been definitively demonstrated that if you're polite and say please and thank you, you get better results. And I've definitely found that to be true. I've also notice that it will also notice how you write, and it will write in a similar way to the person writing a similar style. So if the person is very serious, he'll get a very serious reply. But if they're light and whatever, they'll get a different kind of reply. Some people, when they first find ChatGPT, they flood it with questions, like 6 questions in one. Don't do that. Just give it one question at a time, because AIs can get confused just like humans can. Okay, roles is basically if you give the AI kind of context, and you said, let's say you wanted to write a marketing campaign, and you say, you are a genius marketer with 50 years experience in everything to do with online marketing, offline marketing. In other words, you give it a role, so it knows, okay, this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to respond in this particular area. So roles work really well. If you don't get the answers you seek, you can try, you're not being helpful, because they're trained to be helpful. And one that I did, when it kept telling me it couldn't do something that I knew it could, finally I said, that would make me very sad. You can do it. I have every faith in you. You're a genius. And suddenly it could do it. Another person discovered, and it's since been proven by others, that if you offer the AI a tip, they'll do better. He was getting kind of short, not very detailed responses, and he wanted to get more depth and more detail in the responses. And he said, if I give you a $20 tip, will you give me more? And the AI said, yes. So he said, okay, here's a $20 tip. And I mean, it wasn't real, but the AI suddenly gave him more. He said, okay, how about a $200 tip? The AI would hit this. So right. Right. The other thing is, if ever you run into a thing where, actually this is not so true now, because last week they just added a search function where if you click on it, it'll search the web. But up until then, every now and again it would say, I don't have internet access. And the way around that was to say, use your browser tool. And then it would say, oh yeah, and it would do it. But now it's kind of not so necessary. This is a very, very important datum. The first answers are usually very general and generic. And if you ask a simple generic and general question, you'll get a simple and generic answer. The more detailed your question, the better the results you'll get. That's why giving it a role, giving it context, giving it examples even. But the more information you can give it, the better. So understand that AI has the entirety of the internet and libraries full of information at its disposal. And it's not going to give you all that information at once, but be aware that it has that information and be willing to dig to get exactly what you're looking for. So what is a prompt? A prompt is what you write in a text box to ask the AI a question or tell it what to do. It's how you communicate with the machine. Here's a quick, useful prompt. Paste your text into ChatGPT or one of the others and use this prompt. Fix the spelling, punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure of the text above and list what you changed. A lot of people make the mistake of forgetting that last part. It makes all these changes, then they have no idea what was changed and where. So they have to go through and kind of compare. So always ask it to list what it changed and where. So as I mentioned before, AI is just a tool. It can help people create products much faster, as well as give inspiration, and the people who use it best creatively will be the artists, including authors, especially those who do further work to make the AI output their own. The artist is a source of creativity. He or she is conscious. The AI, no matter how, quote, smart it is not. And the artist is the source of original ideas. At the same time, he or she is free to take inspiration from anywhere he or she chooses, including AI. Back in the 17th century, we had parchment paper, quill, candles. In the 20th century, we moved on to typewriters and gas lamps. Then we had computers and electric lamps. And now we have AI. It's just the evolution of a tool. You follow? Okay. Now, if you find ChatGPT to be too complicated, we've got ChatGPT. It doesn't do much, but it does at least file its nails. All right, so what can AI do for authors? One of the first areas that it can do things is enhancing the writing process, not replacing the writing process. It can actually do that, but I don't recommend it, as you'll see a little bit later. So it can streamline writing tasks. AI-powered writing assistants help authors improve grammar, style, coherence, significantly reducing the time spent on editing and revising. AI can also do the editing, and it can do it in seconds, not weeks. And it can do it really well. And you can also tell it which editing style you like, because different publishers have different books of stylistic choices. And you can say, I want it in this style, or this editing style, and it knows them all and it'll do them all.
Could you name them?
Okay, the Chicago Manual of Style, the Associated Press Style Book, New York Times Manual of Style and Usage, MLA Handbook, APA Style, the Guardian and Observer Style Guide, the Economist Style Guide. Those are some of them. Anyway, we're going to go back to what can AI do for authors. And the interesting thing is, I have some friends who are book editors, and when they first came across AI, they went, oh my God, we're out of a job. But then they realized, wait a minute, this can do my job so much faster. I could have 10 times more clients. And now they do. So it works very well for that. AI can brainstorm ideas, titles, outlines, chapters, suggest plot and world developments, suggest character traits, and even entire story arcs and plot twists, serving as a creative partner that helps authors overcome writer's block, speeds up their writing, and enriches their narratives. How many of you have used any of the GPTs for that? So, good, yeah. So does it work well?
It's amazing. I started maybe in February, and it was kind of horrible. It was hit or miss. Sometimes I get like, oh, I think I'll run with that idea.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a fit idea. To now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that. That's amazing.
Exactly.
So it's really improved in 6 months.
Oh, yeah. It's dramatic.
People that write at YAR, so we see all the questions coming through. So that
There's a setting in the bottom corner of ChatGPT, wherever, or sometimes it's the top right corner, wherever your picture is, you click on that, go to settings, and then go to a section called training, and you can turn off the thing so they can't. Okay. It's fantastic for research. It can streamline the research process by quickly gathering, sorting, and synthesizing relevant information, allowing authors to focus more on writing and less on the laborious aspects of content verification and fact-checking. But do check some of the facts if you're suspicious, because occasionally it will hallucinate. It's less so these days, especially now since they've started giving their citations in the right-hand panel, which is very helpful. So it can transform the editing and publishing phases. It provides real-time feedback on writing quality, suggesting improvements and corrections, which can be particularly valuable in the initial editing stages. It can automate the layout of text for different formats, ebooks, print, Amazon, whatever, because each company has a different way they like it formatted, ensuring that the finished product is aesthetically pleasing and meets publishing standards. It can analyze market trends and reader preferences, predicting which genres, themes, or storytelling techniques are likely to resonate with audiences. This insight allows authors to make more informed decisions about which books to publish and promote. So it's also revolutionizing the whole area of marketing and sales, which I'll show you a little bit later, something pretty wild in that regard. So it enables highly targeted and personalized marketing, ensuring that promotional materials reach the most relevant audience. It analyzes reader data to tailor marketing strategies, enhancing engagement and conversion rates. AI-driven chatbots and customer service tools can provide readers with recommendations, support, and engagement, enhancing the reader experience and building loyalty. These are just some of the things that it can do. It's kind of a quick overview. AI-powered translation tools that have gotten way, way better in the last 6 months, and services can translate books into multiple languages more quickly and accurately than ever before. opening up global markets for authors and publishers. I have a whole other seminar that demonstrates a lot of this multimedia stuff, but I'll just tell you about one that's pretty impressive. You know, if you've got a YouTube video, and maybe it's an hour long, and it's in American or that other similar language, English, and you want it to be understood or watched by people in like 150 different countries. What are you going to do? Redo the video or do subtitles and have the lips be like a Japanese kung fu movie? Well, what the AI does now is it takes a sample of your voice and it transcribes what you're saying in English. It translates it into whatever language you choose, and then that language is spoken in your voice with the lips of the speaker syncing to the new language. So it looks like it was recorded in French or Hindi or Mandarin. It's quite wild, and that one's been around about 6 months, and it's used a lot because it saves incredible amounts of time. Heygen, Heygen. Heygen.
That is like the app to use that does that.
Pardon?
That's the app to use that does that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen, like Legion.
Yeah. So now we're going to look at a few writing tools for helping enhance the writing process. These are AI tools or tools that use AI. Grammarly, you're probably familiar with. It helps with grammar, punctuation, style suggestions to improve the clarity and correctness of writing. It's widely used for both creative and professional writing. Novel Crafter comes with great outlining tools, revision history for your writing, tags and labels to keep track of your work, and more. Pseudo-Write is an excellent tool for brainstorming, help for novel writers. Scribbler is considered by many to be the best AI-assisted novel writing software. And PaperPal offers grammar checks, paraphrasing, plagiarism detection, AI, and there's also AI for plot development and character creation. Plotter aids in plotting stories using visual timelines that can be easily manipulated and organized, helping writers structure their narratives more effectively. And like I say, you'll get all these slides, so you don't have to take notes or try and remember all this stuff. There's a lot of tools. Character Creator helps generate detailed character profiles, including backstories, traits, and motivations, which can then be customized by the writer. For research, Feedly basically takes content from lots of different sources on the subjects that you're interested in and brings them all together for you, so you can do your research in one place. Notion is a customizable app for writers, helps them organize their thoughts, idea generation, outlining, planning of the project, collaborating with others, and streamlining the writing process. And in the editing and publishing phases, Vellum is a formatting tool that helps create beautiful ebooks and print books. It uses some level of AI to automate the layout process. Reedsy offers an AI-driven interface to connect authors with editors, designers, and marketers who are well-suited to their projects. It also provides tools for book layout and formatting. ProWriting Aid, similar to Grammarly, it provides detailed writing insights and suggestions for style improvements. Scrivener helps organize and manage large writing projects. It uses some AI elements to help structure and format manuscripts. So now you probably notice, and that's just skimming the surface, you probably notice there's a lot of different tools, right? And if you were to buy all the tools that you might need to help in the writing of your book, or all the subscriptions, it's going to add up, right? Plus, you're going to have to learn all these programs. So most of those tools and platforms that I showed you, they're all very good. I'm definitely not knocking them. They are good. But most of them offer basically either one function or very few functions, and none of them help with author marketing. And as I just mentioned, to do everything that an author needs can take multiple tools and multiple subscriptions. So what's the solution? I'm sorry, that's the end of the seminar. Right. No, this is actually a tease, because a little bit later I'll show you the solution, because there is a solution. So now let's take a look at, there are typically three major kinds of publishing. There's publishing with a publisher. There's self-publishing, and there's hybrid publishing. And we're going to take a look at each of those, some pros and cons. So publishing with an actual publisher, some of the pros are access to professional editing, design, and marketing support, established distribution channels to bookstores and libraries, credibility boost, and industry recognition. Some of the cons are long approval and publication timelines, lower royalty rates, and less control over creative decisions. And it's competitive and challenging to get signed by a major publisher. So the primary publishers, and then after this we'll take a look at self-publishing and we'll look at hybrid publishing. But the primary publishers for authors generally vary depending on the genre, market, and geographical location. However, some of the largest and most influential publishing houses worldwide include Penguin Random House, which is the largest English-language publisher in the world, publishing a wide range of genres, including fiction, non-fiction, and children's books. The Hachette, or however that's pronounced, Book Group, that's a U.S. major publisher with a strong presence in many areas of publishing. HarperCollins, one of the world's largest publishing companies, offering titles in nearly every conceivable genre. Just a word of warning about HarperCollins. Not about HarperCollins, but about what happened in the last year, is that HarperCollins got hacked. And what a lot of authors and aspiring authors are receiving are these wonderful emails that say, we've come across your book and we think it's absolutely fantastic and we want to publish it for you. And it'll be signed by the CEO of HarperCollins, using their letterhead and everything. And the writer goes, oh my God, this is incredible, this is wonderful. Until they find out that as things develop, this company says that they have to pay them $5,000 to go to the next step. And so they pay their $5,000, or some of them do, and then nothing happens. So they're what I'm going to be covering a little bit later in the hybrid publishing area. Yeah, so be careful if you get something from HarperCollins. Macmillan, they're a global trade book publishing company with prominent imprints that publish a wide variety of books. Simon & Schuster, of course, broad range of titles. Scholastic, which is the world's largest publisher and distributor of children's books. So these publishers have extensive distribution networks and can often offer significant marketing support, which is a big advantage for authors looking to reach a wide audience. So self-publishing. So the pros for self-publishing are full creative control, quicker time to market, higher royalty rates, pricing flexibility, direct connection with readers, and flexibility for niche topics. Cons, upfront costs for editing, design, and marketing, limited access to bookstores and libraries, and it requires strong self-promotion and marketing skills. I just wanted to mention, at the end, I'm going to give my email address, and if you send me an email, I'll send you all the slides, so you don't have to write everything down, but you can if you want. For authors interested in self-publishing, there are several popular platforms. And, of course, everyone knows Amazon Kindle, KDP, probably the most well-known self-publishing platform. It offers worldwide distribution and takes 30%, which is a lot. Barnes & Noble allows authors to publish ebooks and print-on-demand books, offers competitive royalty rates and distribution through the Barnes & Noble online store. Apple Books for authors reaching readers on iPhones, iPads, and Macs. It's particularly user-friendly for people who use Mac computers. There's also Kobo Writing Life, which enables authors to publish and distribute their ebooks to a global audience through their ebook store and partner sites. Smashwords, which is a fairly well-known one, offers a wide distribution network that includes major ebook retailers and libraries. Draft to Digital is a good one. Known for its user-friendly interface, it provides authors with ebook and print-on-demand publishing services. It offers broad distribution to ebook retailers and library services. Lulu, not so well known, but is fairly good, especially for its print quality and for doing hardcover books. Ingram Spark has wide distribution and bookstores and libraries. And so these self-publishing, they provide different levels of control over pricing, royalties, and marketing, allowing authors to choose the best fit for their publishing needs and goals. You have to basically define what you want and then look at the different ones and see what they provide that match what you want. Hybrid publishing. Now, this is the one that I just mentioned before. It combines elements of traditional publishing and self-publishing. It offers a middle ground for authors who seek more control over their work than traditional publishing allows, and who want higher royalties and more support and services than self-publishing typically allows. It's essential to thoroughly vet hybrid publishers to ensure they provide genuine high-quality services. Many don't and are rip-off organizations or vanity presses that charge you thousands up front and don't deliver. I've read so many horror stories online from people being fooled by these. I've had clients who fortunately checked with me first. So the pros are access to professional editing, design, and some marketing support, faster publication timeline than traditional publishing, higher royalties than traditional publishing, and some creative control. The cons are they require author investment up front, similar to self-publishing, but less, because the hybrid publisher is doing some of it. Limited distribution reach and bookstore access compared to traditional publishers, and they vary widely in quality, so research is needed to find the reputable ones. Well, I've done that research. So here's some hybrid publishers that are okay. She Writes Press, Greenleaf Book Group, Girl Friday Productions, Spark Press, and Archway Publishing. And here are some bad boys. Author Solutions, which operates under multiple names like Author House, iUniverse, Ex Libris, Trafford Publishing, and Balboa Press. The Strategic Book Publishing and Rights Agency, sounds very official. Pegasus Elliott Mackenzie Publishers, none of those guys are reputable, so watch out. When evaluating hybrid publishing, look out for the following red flags: high upfront fees, excessive costs for basic publishing services, aggressive sales tactics, pressure to purchase additional, often unnecessary services, lack of transparency, vague contract terms and hidden fees, negative reviews, consistent negative feedback from authors and industry watchdogs. For more information and resources to identify reputable publishers, consider consulting organizations such as the Alliance of Independent Authors and Writers Beware. Another area that has grown very popular over the last few years is audiobooks. Audible, of course, is Amazon's one. Now, I have quite a number of authors as clients who chose Audible, and it's very good, but by God, the hoops that they make you go through to make your audio pass their very stringent requirements are pretty horrendous. I had to literally build audio plugins so I could just do it quickly instead of doing the manual step-by-step thing that they require. So if any of you is using Audible, ACX, or plans to, email me and I'll send you how to pass their tests, their requirements. Findaway Voices is another this is an interesting thing. A lot of authors think when you talk about audiobooks, they think, oh yeah, Audible. And they think that's all there is. There's something like 20 of them. And so there's Findaway, there's Kobo Writing Life, there's Google Play Books, there's Authors Republic. They each have different terms and services. So it's essential to consider your specific needs, as I mentioned. And here's a link, which you'll get when you get the slides, that gives 16 alternatives to Audible, all with all different kinds of things that they offer and different pricing structures and different services.
In Audible, the popular little process with hiring with actor.
Well, there's different viewpoints. I'll tell you my viewpoint is that I find it much more compelling when the actual author reads their own book, because they know the exact places to have the inflections. They know what they were trying to communicate. They know how to communicate it. When you hire someone to do it, it can be a lengthy process trying to get them to understand, no, I meant put the emphasis here. No, I meant this, that. And it's not the same. Now, some people like it, and even AI can do it. But I much prefer it when the actual author, it's just my personal preference, but when the actual author is reading their own book, there's more, I don't know, more magic, more soul than somebody else kind of reading, you know?
Director, you have to do that all the work. I was wondering if the AI is able to.
Oh, yes. Yes, and it's getting better on the inflections. It's still going to have, there'll still be places where you're going to have to correct it. Because, you know, where you put the emphasis on words and sentences is different for everybody, and it makes it an important part of the communication. And as I'll show you a little bit later, there is a way to train the AI on you and your way of speaking and way of communicating. Yeah, and it's not perfect, but it's getting better all the time. So I mentioned before the problem. And that's that most of these tools and platforms that I showed you offer basically one function, some of them quite expensively, and a few of them offer a few functions, and none of them offer help with marketing. And, you know, to do everything that an author needs can take multiple tools and multiple subscriptions. How many of you have heard of custom GPTs? 3, good. You, of course, because you have one. Okay. Well, last November, first of all, there's ChatGPT, as we know. Then last November, the company behind ChatGPT, OpenAI, said, hey, we're going to make this available to everyone to make their own custom GPTs. And they can be tailored for any particular subject. So you could have a story writing GPT, or a story brainstorming GPT, or a marketing GPT, or an editing GPT. Different GPTs that specialize in different subjects. They're very focused. They're trained on you and your work. And since they came out, I got very excited. So excited, I've built about 100 of these things. And they do all sorts of things for me and for my clients. For instance, one of them could do information research. Another one could do idea brainstorming. Another one could do outlining. Another one could help with writing. Another one could help with proofing and editing. Another one, market research. Another one, campaigns. Another one for the materials, creating the materials for the marketing or the social media. And there's loads of them now because other people got the same idea, and loads of other people have made hundreds of thousands of these things. And it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it means you have to, for each different thing that you wanted to do, you have to learn that particular GPT, you have to train it, and often pay for it. And again, it can mount up, and it can take a lot of your time, and you have to know how to prompt. So, you need to learn and train multiple programs, and you need to know how to prompt. So I was looking at this a few weeks, months back, and I thought there's got to be a better way. And I came up with a concept that I call Ultra GPTs. And what they are is multiple custom GPTs working together in a single powerhouse tool that's customized to you, your work, your goals, your needs, your challenges, and it's focused on helping you specifically. So I have tools like this for authors, I have tools like this for marketing companies, for musicians, for actors, writers, filmmakers, all sorts of different things. And I found this to be a really workable solution. And so I'm going to show you very quickly. This is a tool that I built called Authors AI Magic Toolbox. It's now patent pending. And instead of having to have all these different tools to do researching and outlining and writing, it does it all. It takes it from your initial idea or your joint idea with the AI all the way through everything you need as an author to go to the final step of publishing, including the market research, the marketing campaigns, the marketing materials. It does everything. And don't worry, I'm not here to sell you this. This is not one of those seminars where it suddenly goes into, you have to buy this and it's $12,000 and you can't leave the room. No, I'm just letting you know that it exists and giving you the address of where you can check it out if you want. A couple of quick testimonials just so you know how authors are liking it. One said, your Authors AI Magic Toolbox is a game changer. I just finished a book that would have taken me months to write in 10 days. I've been trying to write this one for more than a decade. The toolbox gave me such incredible research and other tools. Everything went lickety-split and my new book is now published. Another one said, I'm amazed at the scope of this creation. From creation of unique ideas you never thought of when writing on any subject, to creating an outline, research, a synopsis of your work, to editing, and it's all done in a blink. I always took forever researching a topic. Now it's just ask the question and you get an answer that blows your mind in seconds. And it always includes something I'd never thought of, or had not thought of. I'm getting 10 times more work done in moments when it previously took months. And that's the link where you can go and check it out. And like I say, if you ask for the slides, you'll have the link. So anyway, moving on. This is an interesting area because any of you who've used image generation tools, as I mentioned right at the very beginning, they will usually, especially if you have a prompt like this prompt would bring most image generating tools to their knees because it's got so many things in it. It's a fascinating family portrait of a solid matte red sphere Christmas present perched atop a blue cube wrapped as a Christmas present with a vivid green Christmas tree standing behind them with a green cloth wrapped around its base. A curious dog is positioned on the right and a cute cat lounges on the left. Now, Midjourney and Leonardo and all the classic, and DALL-E, all the classic tools would give you, I'm going to actually show you what they would give you. Yes, Leonardo. So instead of having the red sphere up here, wrapped as a Christmas present, the dog is up here. Here there's a cat. Here's an extra cat. I mean, it just doesn't follow the exactness of the prompt, right? You've probably run into this, and then you go back and forth saying, no, I wanted this, that, or the other. So that's Leonardo, which is a very good one. Now, DALL-E, which is in ChatGPT and Copilot, same thing. There's no red sphere as a Christmas present on top of and the cat is not on the dog is not on the right. I mean, it gets all these things wrong, right? You see that? And then, of course, the granddaddy, Midjourney, it decides to put the cat on top of the ball. And who knows what it's doing here. It's added an extra dog in a blanket, another cat. I mean, and this is really typical. So I personally don't want to waste all this time trying to get it to do what I want. So I found this amazing tool called Ideogram. And Ideogram, same prompt, produces this, which follows exactly what the prompt asked for. You see that? And that was the first attempt. Second attempt, it did another version, same thing. It followed exactly what I asked for, just a different variation of it. So for me, that saves so much time because I can tell it what I want and get what I want, usually first time. That's ideogram.ai. And the only drawback is it's incredibly expensive. You get 1,200 images a month for free. I was kidding about the expensiveness. It's also fantastic. I don't know if you've ever tried to put text on an image in ChatGPT or DALL-E. You get hieroglyphics. You get things misspelled like crazy. Not with ideogram. Ideogram is fantastic for text and wonderful text styles. You've got dozens of different styles to choose from. This one is another ideogram which shows you how well it follows a prompt. Here we asked for a rooster made entirely of crispy fried chicken, covered in a golden brown crust drizzled with ketchup, perfectly cooked streaming fries for feathers. The AI had no judgment. It didn't say, what were you thinking? It just did it. It just did what was asked for. Now, one of my clients spent, I think it was something like 4 months wrestling with the other tools, trying to get a book cover for his book, or 3 books, and he was tearing his hair out. So I told him about ideogram, and in an afternoon, he got exactly what he wanted. He got these, and these, and these. It just did exactly what he asked for. So he was very happy, because instead of 3 or 4 months, it was like, a few hours. Now, an important note, AI does not replace authors. It's kind of a junior writing partner, a productivity assistant tool to enable authors to excel even further. And the outputs from AI are only as good as the data it was trained on, and the inputs, prompts. AI models can or may inadvertently replicate biases present in their training data, or produce less accurate options or outputs for underrepresented topics or styles. That's not so much the case as it was when I first started giving this particular seminar. It's getting better, for sure. And you can always tell it. It's very responsive. You can say, hey, that's way too, whatever the adjective you want to use. Can you make it more? And it will. There's a guy on YouTube called The Nerdy Novelist, and he's written and published numerous books, and he's worked for the last 2 years at Kindlepreneur, teaching people how to self-publish books. According to him, most of the how to write a book using AI videos on YouTube are truly nonsense and are put there by people who've never written a book. But he mentioned some interesting things that I found to be true. So writing is a multi-step process. Use AI for the parts of the writing process that you don't enjoy. And you do the parts you do enjoy. I mean, you enjoy the writing, right? That creative flow. But there's all sorts of other administrative things and adjunct things that you don't have to do. Well, let the AI do it. Use specialized tools and chatbots like Claude and ChatGPT and Gemini for helping you write fiction and nonfiction. Now, there's a technique a lot of authors use. It's known as the fractal or snowflake technique, where a small idea expands into something larger. You take that into something even larger, and you keep doing it until you have a fully fleshed out manuscript. So you start with a synopsis and a 3-part act, and you just keep on growing on that. And AI is very, very good for helping with that. And we're going to do some now online. While I'm here, I'll explain what Poe is. How many people who here know what Poe is? Poe is basically an aggregator. With Poe, which is free, you can use ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or any of the different tools, including image tools, all in the one place. So you can compare. You can say, hey, write me this paragraph, ChatGPT, and then you can have Claude write the same thing, and you can see which you prefer. Claude, to my and many other people's viewpoint, kind of writes more aesthetically than ChatGPT does. But you use what works best for whatever you're doing. So Poe is very useful, Poe.com. So I'm going to choose I think I'm going to choose Claude for this. What we're going to do is we're going to see how one of these tools does in terms of some of the things it can do to help write a book. So I'm going to say, please give me ideas for 10 news stories set within a 1920s New York setting that could be used as the basis for a hard-boiled detective story. And so what you get is 10 different ideas. Like, a prominent Broadway producer is found dead in his office after opening night. The prime suspect is his leading lady, but a web of gambling debts and bootlegging connections suggest darker motives. And then there are 10 completely different story ideas. And you might like one of them, you might not. You might say, hey, give me 20 more. And somewhere along the line, you'll get one that kind of resonates with what you're looking for. Or you can give it input and say, no, I was thinking more of this. Can you expand upon this? And it will come up with things you hadn't thought of. But let's just take one. Let's see. All right, I'm going to take number 4. Multiple dock workers turn up dead along the Hudson River. What appears to be union violence masks an international conspiracy involving stolen artwork being smuggled through New York's ports. So I'm going to say, thank you. Please flesh out number 4 into a full synopsis with a 3-act structure. So now it's written Act 1, Act 2. I'm sorry it's so slow.
What is that? 3 seconds?
Yeah. So now it's written 3-act structure for that story. So now I could say, if I liked that, or if I didn't, I'd say do it again and give it some further instructions that would be more specific about what I wanted and what I didn't. Okay, so now I'm saying take Act 1 of those 3 acts and expand it into a larger series of chapters. So now it's got Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 7. It's got 9 chapters just on Act 1. So then I could say, okay, take Chapter 1 and expand it into a larger series of beats. Anybody here not know what a beat is? Story beats can be emotional turns, incidents or events, actions and reactions or realizations. They can even be small shifts in narrative tone or a character's emotional arc. Essentially, they're small moments that move the story forward. Scenes are made up of many beats. Beats are the stuff that make up a scene. For example, if you're telling someone about a story in a linear way, you might say, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. All of those this happens are beats. The term beat sheet is used in screenwriting, but novelists have also adopted it. A beat sheet is a list of bullet points that outline or sequence a story. So here we're saying, break down these take chapter 1 and expand it into its beats. Now it says exterior establishing, and it has 5 beats. Rain on Manhattan streets, early morning. Steam rising from manhole covers. Model T Ford splash through puddles. Sound of elevated train in distance. Newspaper boy shouting headlines about Coolidge administration. So these are all beats, and in a movie they will be scenes. And then you might look at Act 1 and feel that it's too generic or that it's lacking creativity. So you could say, I feel, actually I'm going to say thank you first. I'd like to be polite to my AIs, just in case. No, I'm kidding, I've been using AI for 25 years. I'm still here. So now it'll rewrite chapter 1 to make it more dynamic. Dead don't float face up. And it just writes it in a more compelling, more kind of drag you in or draw you in. Yes?
So if you understand a level of certainty that not drawing from our inputs works.
Yes, because of the way it works. It has this bizarre way of working, which is called basically it predicts. And I mean, it's going to sound crazy because I don't understand how it does it, but it basically takes a word and then it predicts what the next word should be. So it's not taking it from existing stuff. Everything it's creating is from scratch.
If it's not, does it tell you a source? Or it always is not?
In this instance, it's not taking it from anywhere, so it's not going to give you a source. When you're doing research, it'll give you a source.
Style.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I wrote some copy for one of my websites that I thought was pretty good. It wasn't great or perfect, but I thought it was pretty good. And then I asked one of the GPTs, I said, can you rewrite it in the style of David Ogilvy, who's a $2,000 an hour copywriter? And it did, and my jaw dropped. It was brilliant. It was phenomenal, and that's what I ended up using. Okay, so you get the idea. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. And let's say that you wanted to do, that's for fiction. Let's say you wanted to do a nonfiction book. You could say something, let's start over. All right, so now on nonfiction, I'm saying, please give me a list of 30 possible chapters for a book about intermittent fasting. And it'll give me 30 chapters with all the different parts of the chapters, and I can choose the ones I like or resequence them or remove the ones I don't like. And, you check if they're topics you have familiarity with and want to write about. And then you could say something like this. That we're in chapter 8. So now I'm saying, take those basic outlines and give me a list of topics to cover in a specific chapter. So it will do that for me. And then, and it's saying, would you like me to elaborate on any of these sections or add additional topics? So you can do that. Then you can say, thank you. Please write the first 500 of this first 500 words of this chapter. And it'll actually write the whole chapter. Now, I definitely don't recommend that you just take it as is. You really got to make it your own and put your stamp on it. And it'll give you a lot of the grunt work can be done for you with AI. He wrote the whole thing. Okay, so we're going to go back. All right, so I'm going to show you, I'm just going to tell you, and I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly, but like I say, you can have the slides and you can have it in more detail. But these are basically the 7 prompts if you wanted to write a book from scratch, kind of as we just did. These are 7 prompts that will do it. First one is the brainstorming prompt, used to generate ideas, especially focusing on a premise and an ending for the story. It can take various forms, and the author emphasizes the importance of knowing where the story is going. So give me 10 ideas, like we did just before, 10 ideas for exactly what we did. Then there's a synopsis prompt. It helps in creating a detailed synopsis for the story, often using a traditional 3-act structure, which is exactly what we did. And then there's an example there of that prompt.
3 years worth of notes that I want to cream into a book. Can I feed that into the AI?
Well, I'll tell you, there's an incredible tool for that by Google called Notebook LM. You can, but listen to this because it goes so much further. You can feed it everything, whether it's in text or a document or a PDF or a video or an audio, everything. You can just shove it into here, and then you can say, okay, make this into something that makes sense and is cohesive. And then you can ask questions. Let's say you've got 5,000 pages of this stuff. You can say, where is it that I said such and such about there? And what did I mean? And it'll answer. But here's the part where it gets really weird. You can also tell it to, having created this, whatever the final result is, you can say, okay, now create me a live podcast with two people talking about whatever the subject is. And the thing that is stunning, I mean, even for me, I'm shocked, is, and people all over the web are utterly shocked because these two AIs sound so real. They interrupt each other, they respond, interact with each other, they improvise on whatever it was you wrote, and they give very, very clever understandings, and they're absolutely amazing. And so it is free. It's ridiculous. Anyway, there's that. The third one is the outlining prompt, which is, just getting a summary. Then there's a character prompt where you get it to write character profiles, including the details about the protagonist, the antagonist, or the mentor, all the different parts that you might want. Let's see. Story beats prompt, styles prompt, where you tell it what style you want. And there is also the final prompt is used to construct the prose of the story. It can include details like genre, tone, key characters, specific story beats to cover. It's used to write the actual text, guided by the previous prompts. Yeah, so you say, write 1,000 words of a chapter using the following details. You give it the genre, the tone, point of view, setting, key characters, story beats to cover. But like I say, use it as a guide. Don't just take exactly what it does and then say, hey, I wrote this. Because you didn't quite. And here's the interesting thing about it. Someone once asked me, well, surely this is going to enable anyone, no matter how lacking in talent, to write a book. Yeah, but it's not going to be a good book, and here's why. When writers lack proficiency in the artistic discipline of writing and storytelling, they can't exert appropriate creative influence over the AI-generated text. They can't spot when something, hey, that's not right. Can you fix that? They'll just accept whatever it writes and go, oh, that's wonderful. And it very often isn't. And inadequate prompts from an unskilled writer will inevitably lead to flawed output from the AI system. The quality of the AI performance is inextricably linked to the expertise and guidance provided by the human writer. Also, the AI lacks the life experiences and personality and soul that add color and great flavor to a human's writing. Does that make sense? Good. So one quick thing, how to train ChatGPT or Claude on your style. These are called persona prompts. And basically, prompt number one is, here's a recent article I've written, and you attach the article or the website or whatever. Analyze my tone, how I form sentences and paragraphs, the level of detail I use in explanations, the amount of humor I use, how often I ask the reader questions, the readability level I use, the vocabulary I use, the level of emotion I convey in my writing, and whatever else you want to tell it. And then when it does that, you say, give me a 200-word summary of what you've learned, and it will. And it's very, very interesting to read those summaries of your writing, because they're very, very spot on. And then you say, based on the writing style analyzed from the provided article, create content entitled, and you give it your title, add 1,000 words, 2,000 words, whatever it might be. Ensure that the new content strictly adheres to my style in terms of tone, structure, and approach as identified in the analysis. And it's very interesting to see what it does. And you can tweak it as you need to. Yeah, so trockcliffe@gmail.com if you want the slides. And you can also request a free AI consulting session with me. And what that does is I just sit down with you either in person or on Zoom, whichever your preference is, and we look at your particular situation and how AI could help, which AI tools would be best for you. And I help you learn them and stuff like that. It's no obligation. I enjoy doing it, and people usually enjoy doing them. So when you send me the email, if you want the consultation, add that in. And that's basically it for tonight, except for this.
All this data and stuff that you're pushing, best to get a modern computer, because I'm reading that they're totally different than last year.
Well, the thing is that most of this stuff is done online. So, I mean, everything I do is online. This computer is 6 years old, and it does everything fine because it's all online. As long as you have a good internet connection.
Okay, great.
Okay, any other questions?
Okay.
You really do, I will, but you really don't want to know. It was put together by real nerds. So they are initials. No, it's not somebody's initials. It probably won't help. It stands for Generative Pre-Trained Transformer. Does that help? No. It means that it's pre-trained on lots of information, and from that, it transforms that information and generates new information, is basically the crux of it. But it's a stupid name.
I know I'm here tonight. You will do other.
Yeah, I've been giving about 10 a month. I've got about 8 different seminars on AI, covering different aspects of AI. Yeah, I'll include that in, actually at the AI Connection Club, there's a place that gives you the schedule.
If I'm the area, so lots.
I write full feature screenplays, and I upload like 100-point screenplay and asked it to in graphic form, take my dialogue, incorporate as dialogue, and stand on settings and make it more novel.
Absolutely. Yeah, very much so. I might save a minute or two.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Sort of tailor your brain. So it's after, let's say the thing that they like, it's just, is there a way to like enter a living video air?
You can give it the website address of the video. Yeah, you can't, with ChatGPT, you can't, actually, with Gemini, you can upload a video, but it's more for transcription and more for summarizing. I haven't tried doing that. It's an interesting thing. You could try it and see what happens. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it sounds possible.
We're not Notebook Ellen that I just
What about it?
Notebook Ellen, would that work if she put in the video or an URL or something like that and asked it to do something?
It's possible. Like I say, I haven't tried it, so I can't say for sure, but it sounds possible.
My question was, is there a chat portion of the AI Connection group with other users and so forth?
Yeah, if you look, oh, sorry.
I'm bugging with family.
Right.
Yes.
On the home page, as you scroll down here, you'll see all sorts of people chatting about all sorts of things. And there's groups, where people chat about specific subjects. People chat at their profile pages. There's all sorts of places to chat. And there's private messaging and making friends and stuff like that.
Does it cost anything?
No.
Facebook may have a group. Facebook may have a group. They have groups.
Yeah, and so do we. Except ours are AI based or centric. Yeah, if you look here, you see there's new AI tools, custom GPTs, video AI, AI and images, AI for authors, AI for musicians, all sorts of different groups.
really format.
And there's also, if I go here, when you first go there, there's a button here that says, what can I do here? That will tell you many of the things that you can do. This is a 5-minute intro video that will introduce you to it and tell you what to do first. This video here will give you a tour of the place, but this will show you the best AI tools. It's constantly being updated, the daily AI news. But here, what's new in AI? This is the one that we keep updated constantly because things are changing so often, and it'll show you what's happening. Like what happened this week is you can take this image and say, put them both together in a different background holding large pieces of chicken legs. And this one takes where you are filming whatever you're filming, and it instantly converts it into a 3D world, an environment with actors, animated actors, saying what you're saying and doing what you're doing. This one, you upload this picture, for instance, then you say, add a girl kissing the dog and holding it, and it adds it for you. This one, you say, change the style, and you can change to numerous different styles. There's just so many things happening every day coming out. So, excuse me. Yeah.
Really? How does one access ChatGPT? Is there a web address?
Yes, chatgpt.com. Although just last week they bought the domain chat.com. So pretty soon you'll be able to go there and it'll...
Just chat.com?
Yeah. I don't know if they've... Let me see if they've already made the switch. Yep, they've made the switch already. So you can just go to chat.com.
And it's free.
Yeah.